Ahoy and welcome to Extraordinary Strides, the podcast that makes movement magical. I'm your host, Coach Christine, and this summer we're inviting you to set sail on a 3-part adventure unlike any other. So whether you're racing through your neighborhood, wherever that may be, or sweating it out here in the Florida heat, we've built this podcast series to bring the joy of Disney magic, movement, and community directly to your ears. This is our companion and completely unofficial podcast to the Run Disney virtual 5K summer series. And here at the Extraordinary Strides, we're taking it to the next level because every episode is going to be themed to one of the featured 5Ks. And today we're going to take to the high seas with Pirates of the Caribbean. You'll get a deep dive into the history of the attraction, trivia from the films, pirate fashion, rations, and maybe a grog recipe or two, and a whole lot of fun along the way. Each episode also comes with an in-person Run Disney style meetup here in Orlando, thanks to our in-person official Run captain, Lynn. She's also here. She's going to be joining me. But if you want more details on those in-person meetups, please head on over to the Stride Collective. Our Facebook group has all of the details. But whether you're in person with us here in Orlando or from home, we have a treasure trove of fun coming your way. So without further ado, helping me kick off the fun, welcome on in, Lynn.
Hello. Ahoy, Christine. I am thrilled to be here.
I'm curious how...
I know. I'm so excited about the pirate-packed ride history and all the landlubbers and swashbucklers tuning in.
So I feel like you're going to be a natural when it comes to all the pirate slang. I'm going to probably struggle a little bit more with it, but we'll see how long we can stay in quote unquote character. Lynn, I'm super excited to get this party on the road. So tell us maybe where it all began.
Well, we have to rewind all the way back to March 1967, which, by the way, is also the year I was born, the day Pirates of the Caribbean opened in Disneyland's New Orleans Square. So it wasn't just another ride. Did you know that this was the last attraction that Walt Disney personally supervised before he passed away in 1966? So it's really one of his final gifts to us as far as his handprints on the ride itself.
And what a gift it truly was. I had no idea. I didn't realize, though, that beyond the fact that it was one of the last things that he was really personally involved with, that it wasn't originally planned as a boat ride.
That is correct. Did you know the first concept of it was like a walk-through wax museum filled with pirate tableaus and static scenes. But after this huge success of It's a Small World at the 64-65 World's Fair, the Imagineers pivoted to the boats because it had better guest flow and it had a more immersive way of the storytelling.
I can't imagine it any other way. And it also became the most elaborate audio animatronic attraction ever built at that time.
That's true. Over 120 figures, all timed to lighting, music, and effects. You board the boat, drift through the misty caverns, sail past skeletons and their treasure hoards, witness towns being ransacked and burned. And it's underscored by Yo Ho, a pirate's life for me, which was written by George Bruns and Xavier Atencio, and it became an instant classic.
So, Lynn, I have to ask, how often do you sing that when you're waiting in the queue?
Oh, all the time.
The entire time that you're in the queue. So if it's like a 15-minute queue, it's a 15-minute song, sing along, basically.
Well, for 15, yes.
Okay. Okay, got it. And let's not forget that the Blue Bayou restaurant at the start of the ride, dining inside the attraction while lanterns were glowing and boats drifting past. That was truly groundbreaking at that time in Disneyland.
It was very much. And funny story about the Blue Bayou, and my husband will hurt me probably for this, but as a child at Disneyland, a teenager, one of his good memories was being at the Blue Bayou and having a very large burp. And apparently it echoes very loudly and embarrassed his whole family by belching loudly in the Blue Bayou over the Pirates ride.
But it's totally on theme. Like, I feel like it's very Pirates of the Caribbean, don't you think?
It absolutely is.
It added to the ambiance. I'm going to say it was perfect. It was perfectly timed.
That's true.
Now, from Disneyland, we head to where?
To Disney World was the next one, obviously. Our favorite, our home park, and it opened in 1971. Well, Disney World, opened in 71. The Pirates of the Caribbean was not supposed to be a part of the initial lineup because Florida is so close to the Caribbean. They were like, well, Florida people probably wouldn't want that and be interested.
I mean, I can't imagine Disney World without Pirates of the Caribbean. It was one of my absolute favorite parts. So, of course, we were interested. And I mean, so glad they brought it here.
Yes, there was such a huge demand. So they went to work really quickly. and opened the Florida version in December of 73, which, by the way, was my first year going to Disney World as a child. So I got to see it within the first year it was open.
Lynn, your history, your personal history is so interwoven and connected with Disney. I just can't imagine you not being a Disney fan.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
So what are some of the changes?
Yeah, there are some differences. One is the queue is longer and more immersive styled. It's more like a Spanish fortress. It's not New Orleans styled. It's the Spanish theme. And it's kind of inspired by El Castillo de Moro in San Juan, which I have been to now. It's a very interesting castle. So the ride is actually shorter and it doesn't have the Blue Bayou. The boat drop is a smaller drop at Disney World. And they also rearranged the skeleton scenes and where they showed up to make the storyline flow a little bit better.
So, I mean, clearly I haven't been to Disneyland, so I don't have that comparison. I feel like I'm super excited that they did make that change of having the queue under some shade. It's not necessarily under AC the entire time, but that under that shade here in Florida, I think works really well. Now, since you've been to both El Castillo de Moro and you've been to Disney World's Pirates of the Caribbean, do you feel like it's got a little bit of that style? Do you see the similarities at all?
I think of it more like going to St. Augustine and the castle, it's that, which is also Spanish style. So any of the Spanish style castles it does have that feel, which growing up in Florida, it makes more sense to me. The one time I rode the one in California at Disneyland, it didn't make sense to be in New Orleans.
Right. It probably does feel a little weird.
That is not the Caribbean.
Yeah. I do feel like the Florida version leans more into like that mood and mystery from the very beginning.
Now, the next thing, obviously Pirates has expanded past that. So the next one they did was Tokyo Disneyland, which opened in 1983. And they kind of give us what we call the director's cut of the ride. It is around 15 minutes long for the ride. It's the longest version of the attraction.
Because there's more pirates, more plundering, and more drama, of course. And I wish that ours was 15 minutes long. That seems amazing.
Yeah. The only times ours is 15 minutes is not for a good reason.
You're absolutely right.
But the other thing they have is dual loading and unloading stations. So it handles the crowds better as well. So there's scenes being that it was, 10 years further along in the 80s, they're much more detailed and the queue is more elegant. The narration is in Japanese, which, it's in Tokyo, so that makes sense. But many of the songs and the key phrases do remain in English.
I can't imagine yo ho, it's a pirate's life for me in any other variation, but I would be curious to hear what it does translate to. So
right.
Since we can't really translate it here in Japanese now, maybe we could try a little bit of France.
Maybe, because that is the next place that they went. And we have almost another 10 years, I'm feeling a 10-year theme here going. In 1992 is when Paris opened, and they flipped the entire story structure. There you begin with the chaos, the raiding, the dueling, the pillaging, and end in the haunted caverns with the skeletons and the echoes of the past.
I really love that inversion. It feels like it plays in reverse a little bit. So it starts off with the mayhem and then kind of finishes a little bit more with the mystery as you exit the ride. I dig that.
Yeah. And so their queue takes you through Fort St. Nicholas, and the boat floats past captain quarters and dungeons before the first real scene. Oh, and also their on-ride dining spot is called Captain Jack's Restaurant des Pirates. A nod to Blue Bayou. I don't know if I said that right. With a Caribbean menu, though.
I have no idea. I say Captain Jack sounded exactly right to me, my friend. I love the Caribbean menu. I mean, again, being in Florida, we do have a lot of really great cuisine, Floridian and all that jazz. But I think I would definitely want to try their pineapple rum cake in France and see how it stacks up.
That's true. Now, the showstopper, though, of the rides is the Shanghai Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean Battle for the Sunken Treasure, which opened in 2016. It's a complete reinvention using trackless boat tech, projection mapping, and synchronized motion. If any of you have Disney Plus and have watched the Imagineering story, you can actually see the original different pieces of the ride. But when I saw this one, the Shanghai one, I'm like, I want to go to Shanghai just to ride this ride.
Are you serious? Now I feel like that's going to be on my watch list today. So they have the entire Pirates of the Caribbean with all the different variations, and it shows the Shanghai as well?
No, it's the whole Imagineering story.
Okay.
But it does talk about that through the different parks. It does talk about pirates because that is a staple in most of the parks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the Imagineers do incredible things. That's for sure. So my understanding that the Shanghai Disneyland is not like a slow float through set pieces. It's like being inside of the actual pirate blockbuster movies.
Right. You actually follow Jack Sparrow as he dives beneath the waves to battle Davy Jones for a sunken treasure. So there's a 360-degree underwater battle, an enormous screen that blends with real sets, and the boats that rotate and glide independently. So none of the rides feel exactly the same. So think a little bit Rise of the Resistance if you've ridden that, but with 360 degrees. It literally drops you into the underwater. So
I feel like we need to make Shanghai happen for ourselves.
I know, right?
So that sounds incredible. Well, there have been some ride enhancements or changes over time, depending on what side of the controversies you may lie. But there have been some updates. In the mid-2000s, the ride was overhauled to include elements from the hit film franchise.
Yes. So they did add animatronics of Captain Jack Sparrow in multiple scenes. You can see him 2 or 3 times, a transformed pirate captain into Barbossa, and Davy Jones's voice is appearing as a ghostly mist over the boats happened for a while. I've also heard rumor that at times Johnny Depp will just get on his Jack Sparrow costume and be on the ride from time to time as an added animatronic over in Disneyland.
That would be so amazing. That would truly be so amazing. Now, I do know that they also had a little bit of an update in the 2018 year. We found ourselves the auction scene that was once showing women being sold was reworked, of course, because that would probably not be the most appropriate. So the redhead became Red, a pistol-wielding pirate leading the plunder. She's sassy. I like her.
Yeah, it did spark a lot of controversy. So again, it just depends on, I like the classics, but I do get it. It does, have more woman empowerment, but at the same time, I have mixed opinions, but I get it.
I know it.
I get it. I do like the character Red, the tough female pirate, and I get why you couldn't do that, but it's, yeah. So I'm still on the fence.
It changes a little bit of the nostalgia feels, that's for sure. No doubt about it. For the record, when I think of all of the awesome costumes you have, you would make a pretty amazing Red. Like if you ever wanted to Disney bound as her, Lynn, I think you could pull it off.
That's a good point.
Okay, Lynn, I know that you've got some deep lore hidden in your treasure trove. So maybe you could share some of it with us.
This is my favorite, actually, is that initially they actually used real skeletons in the Disneyland ride. So the Imagineers got them from the medical school because the fake ones looked too fake. I mean, this was back in the 60s. They weren't as good with making fake things. Nowadays we can make a cake that looks like something that it's not. So we have much more technology now. Most of those have been replaced with replicas, but there are the rumors floating around that 1 or 2 real bones still remain in the bed scene, which kind of spooky.
I honestly, if it wasn't you telling me this, I wouldn't believe it, just because I just can't imagine real skeletons. But I agree with you. Technology has changed and we could probably make those skeletons out of cake, like you mentioned now, and they would look just as real. Do you think they're still there? Do you think that there might be a couple left behind?
I don't know.
Okay.
That would be hard to say. I do know, as specific as they are about knowing, I do believe they know. It's not an accident. Like if they're there, they know that they're there. It's not like somebody just missed 1 or 2. If they're there, it's an intention.
Right. Left it behind.
Absolutely. Also, throughout the ride, there are several hidden Mickeys. Like there's a place where the cannonballs are stacked in a Mickey shape. So always keep your eye out for those.
I feel like if there's anybody that could definitely find the hidden Mickeys, it would be you. Do you know of the cannonballs Mickey-shaped stacked area, or have you seen them?
I'm actually not a huge hidden Mickey looker. I mean,
really?
If I know it's a specific, certain things, I will look, but it's not something I am very specific about.
Got it. Okay.
Another cool thing with the Pirates are the audio animatronics count. There's, like I mentioned before, there was over 120 figures in the original version. And always my favorite as a kid, and even now, is as you're coming through, there's a man up on the wall with his legs swinging.
Yeah.
And there's even hair on the leg. And I was always just really impressed by the fact that it's a hairy, dirty leg. I looks like a real dirty pirate. So I'm always impressed.
I think it's my favorite too. And I'm so curious if people want to pop in and let us know if that's one of their favorites, because it just looks so incredibly realistic. And being, especially as a kid in the boat, you kind of almost feel like you could reach up and touch it. So yeah, it's one of my favorites as well.
The last one is that the Yo-Ho, the Pirates Like For Me song was never actually meant to be iconic, but it became one of Disney's most recognizable tunes. I'm not sure, it probably did a close run with It's a Small World, but Yo-Ho, they've even added extra lyrics. If you've listened to the full thing in the movies, they've added, I try to listen on the ride to hear if I can hear all of the lyrics that you hear from the full version. And I've picked out the really bad eggs one part, but the rest of them, not so much.
Okay, now I want to actually go pull it up to see if I can find all the lyrics online. But I do think that it's got a little bit of earworm, like It's a Small World, without being quite so annoying. So I feel like it's basically the pirate anthem of every generation.
Absolutely. So, one of the things I think that's so interesting is from the wax museum idea to all the way from the beginning to immersive 4D experience, the Pirates of the Caribbean has evolved with the times. And so it still stays true to that classic cheeky kind of swashbuckling spirit that it started with, which is really nice.
It is, for sure. So our listeners that are right now doing the 5K, think of every step like a sail through Disney history. There's adventure, there's challenge, and there's always a little bit of treasure at the end.
Even if the treasure is just a cold drink and a shiny medal, even if you have to make your own.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm down with making your own.
Some doubloons.
Let's see those best DIYs. So thank you, Lynn, so very much for sharing this history of one of our favorite rides, Pirates of the Caribbean. And I'm so excited about this entire weekend. But coming up next, we're going to turn our compass toward the big screen. From cursed Aztec gold to eyeliner smeared legends, our movie segment is led by none other than our cinematic compass, Sally Wyant.
Get ready for the buried secrets, epic battles, and behind-the-scenes magic. Sally, you're on deck.
All right, adventurers, you've sailed through the ride's history, and now it's time to jump ship straight into Hollywood. The Pirates of the Caribbean films turned theme park fun into big screen treasure. And joining me to unpack it all is our Extraordinary League movie queen and your go-to host for film night and trivia, Sally Wyant. Hey, Sally.
Hey, Christine. I'm so excited to be here. I love these movies so much. They're the adventure, the sword fights, and of course, the famous Captain Jack Sparrow.
I mean, how could you go wrong with Captain Jack? There's no doubt about it. So we're going to get into it because this series doesn't just surprise fans, it actually shocked the industry. So when Disney announced a movie based on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride back in the early 2000s, people were, well, let's say, skeptical.
Yes, just because of the fact that most pirate movies before it flopped. This one, however, was considered risky for Disney. But when The Curse of the Black Pearl came out in 2003, it became a massive hit.
I am shocked still to this day that it made over $650 million worldwide. It revived the pirate genre and earned Johnny Depp an Oscar nomination for playing a pirate that no one knew what to expect from. I have to say, I can't think of Johnny Depp in any other role. I know he's a very nuanced actor. He has tons of other accolades, but do you see him as Captain Jack Sparrow all the time?
Yes, I agree. That's I think his go-to movie now is that. There's that, and I just think of Edward Scissorhands, his early movie. That's the only two I.
That is a classic, one of my favorites too. I can't think of anybody else definitely playing that role, but let's talk about what made that first film so special besides Johnny Depp. And of course, it's because it had a cursed treasure. There was ghost pirates that were super cool, of course, sword fights, and Captain Jack, who was a hero who wasn't really a hero.
Exactly. Jack Sparrow wasn't polished at all. He was unpredictable, clever, funny, and just chaotic enough to be lovable.
I mean, that's definitely why I think most of us fell in love with him. But I didn't know this, that his character was based on Keith Richards, the guitarist from the Rolling Stones. That's why he had kind of a sways around like he's been at sea too long or had one too many mugs of rum.
And funny enough, when I watched the first movie, I go, this character looks so familiar. And then when I heard that and Keith Richards stars as the dad in later films as Captain Teague, Jack's dad, that I was like, oh, that's who he looked like. And it made sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
So let's talk about the other characters quickly, just as a refresher for everyone.
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't seen the movies, of course, and if you haven't, what are you doing? You should immediately stop your run and go watch this, or maybe jump on the treadmill to watch. So kick it off, my friend.
So we have the famous Jack Sparrow, the captain, the trickster, and kind of Lucky, played by Johnny Depp.
Yes, and then there was Will Turner, the blacksmith turned pirate, loyal, brave, and always a little too serious, played by Orlando Bloom. And during scenes when they have a younger version of Will, he's played by Dylan Smith.
And of course, we have Elizabeth Swann, played by no other Keira Knightley, as a young Elizabeth, who was played by Lucinda Drasik. This character starts as the governor's daughter and ends up as a pirate queen. Fierce.
Completely fierce. I absolutely love her. And then, of course, there's Captain Barbossa. So much fun to watch, played by Jeffrey Rush, who, again, iconic actor, who is described him as a mix of Shakespeare and a mix of Looney Tunes, which actually I see that as well.
Yeah, I do too.
And of course, if you're looking to maybe finish up your Pirates themed weekend with a little bit of a movie marathon, here's a quick tour of the 5 films. There's, of course, the blockbuster, The Curse of the Black Pearl, 2003 is when that came out. So there's Ghost Pirates and Cursed Gold, Dead Man's Chest in 2006, which has the Kraken, Davy Jones, and the giant wheel chase scene. At World's End in 2007, huge sea battles, pirate lords, and Jack's weird desert hallucinations. And then on Stranger Tides, 2011, which includes The Fountain of Youth, Blackbeard, and Mermaids. Can't go wrong with that. And then finally, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Ghost Sailors, Young Henry Turner, and a callback to the ride's most famous line.
Oh, and did you know, Christine, I found this so fascinating. The Dead Man's Chest made over $1 billion. It was the fastest movie to ever reach that at that time.
I mean, that's like mind-blowing, the amount of money that it takes to be $1 billion. Talk about truly a blockbuster.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that I know you love, Sally, and when you're hosting the movie nights for the league and you pop in with all the trivia, is that you find all of the really good Easter eggs. So one of the things that I love about Disney and their magical movie making is that Easter eggs are always kind of hidden within. And this movie pays tribute to the ride in so many ways. And here's just a few. There's the dog with the keys in the jail, of course, straight from the ride. Of course, the Dead Men Tell No Tales used in the films and the ride narration. Of course, that's what we decided to kind of allude to with the podcast title here. The burning town scene, which I can actually smell when I go through that ride and whenever I see it on the movies. It's a full moment from the attraction. And then the auction scene, which is nodded to in multiple films.
And we can't forget about the music. At World's End, a little voice sings Yo Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me before a scary scene, which, of course, I love scary parts in the movies. Gives me chills.
Same, my friend, same. And it does have a little bit of eeriness, even though it is family friendly. But Sally, I think that we couldn't have a segment on this movie in the blockbuster series without a little bit of a trivia challenge. I think it's hard to stump you, but I'm going to try. And friends, if you are out there listening right now, play along with us. I'm going to give some multiple choice questions. First question is, what was the original title of The Curse of the Black Pearl before Disney added Pirates of the Caribbean? Was it A, Ghost Ship, B, Treasure's Curse, C, just the Black Pearl, or D, Sea of Shadows?
Ooh, let me think. I'm gonna have to guess C, the Black Pearl.
I mean, you're absolutely right. It kind of right straight to the point, but Disney decided, let's go ahead and add Pirates of the Caribbean later because we need to connect it directly to the ride.
Yes, it makes sense totally. Because you need, like, if you see just like the Black Pearl, you're like, what am I walking into with it?
100%, which makes sense. But sometimes you're like, well, that seems a little obvious, but no, it really actually makes sense that they would need to add it in. Okay, I know it's, again, hard to stump you, but which of these is not a real pirate ship in the series? A, the Flying Dutchman, B, the Queen Anne's Revenge, C, the Silent Mary, or D, the Crimson Cobra?
Oh, I have to say D sounds made up, so I'll have to go with D, the Crimson Cobra.
But wouldn't that be a super cool, like, gladiator, I don't know, masked wrestler name? But you're absolutely right. That one's totally fictional. At least it was for this franchise so far. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring it in.
I know. Who knows with the Disney? I can see them making another Pirates movie and working that one in.
Of course.
So we're going to flip the script. I'm going to have my turn to quiz you and see how much you can know about these movie series.
Okay, I'm a little nervous, but I'll give it a try.
Okay. So in the first movie, what's Jack Sparrow's famous answer when someone asks, "You are without a doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of"? A, "But I'm charming." B, "But you have heard of me." C, "I'll take that as a compliment." Or D, "Says you."
I can actually picture Jack Sparrow saying all of those.
Yeah.
But I think it was, "But you have heard of me."
Yes, you're correct. And I feel like some of those, like, I know they're in other movies. I just can't think of like the C one, like, "I'll take that as a compliment." I can see that being in one of the movies.
I can. It's kind of like that whole, what do they call it? Mandela effect, where you can't tell like what was reality and what your mind kind of created. Cause I can honestly see those all 100% being things that Captain Jack's character would say.
Yes. Okay. Next one. Which movie introduces the mermaids who tried to drag the sailors underwater? A, Dead Man's Chest. B, On Stranger Tides. C, At World's End. Or D, Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Okay, I think I know this one specifically because I haven't met a mermaid or a merman that I didn't absolutely love. So this one stands out a little bit more to me. I believe it's On Stranger Tides.
Correct. And I feel like with that one, it kind of gives it away, like the Stranger Tides.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, I will say that this also wouldn't be a full movie segment if we didn't throw in some of the extra behind the scenes facts. And I think, again, Sally, that's kind of one of the things that I love participating in your movie nights, where you throw in so much little tidbits and knowledge. I feel like you're getting us ready for Jeopardy.
Yeah.
But a couple of the behind the scene facts is that Johnny Depp wore gold teeth to set, and Disney almost fired him for it.
I can't believe that.
I know, because I mean, it makes perfect sense, but I think that he may have been a little bit too much to handle since he's a character actor. They probably were like, ugh. The tentacles on Davy Jones were 100% CGI. Bill Nighy acted in a motion capture suit, and I have seen a little bit of behind the scenes with that. And truly actors are more amazing than we give them credit for, because how they do this green screen stuff and portray like it's real is beyond me.
Yeah, I've seen some of, like, not even with the Pirates movies, but like Avatar and all those other ones, like the sea, like them acting and with the green screen, they have to use their imagination. It's completely amazing.
It really is. I don't think I could do it. Do you think you could?
I don't think so. I'm not that good.
I honestly, I would be like, what? There's supposed to be a squid or octopus or something here, because all I see is just literally nothing. Like, I just see a dude in a suit making weird noises or weird gestures. Okay, so hit me with some of your behind the scenes facts, my friend.
So on Stranger Tides, the movie cost $379 million, making it one of the most expensive movies ever made.
I could see that too. I mean, 100%, right? Like, it's because of all the different characters, and it was so much CGI in that one as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can see it because of the facts and who they cast for the movie. And then Penelope Cruz was pregnant during filming, so she had her sister as her stunt double for some of the shots, which I do remember seeing that somewhere. Maybe it was behind the scenes on something that she was pregnant for the movie and her sister was used.
Oh my gosh. Now I want to like go look up what her sister looks like. Does her sister have her own like IMDb with credits as stunt double while Penelope was pregnant?
I want to go back and rewatch the movie and be like, Penelope, or is that her sister? And see if I got it.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be very interesting. Well, and of course, Jeffrey Rush Barbosa always comes into the scenes from the left side because he feels like it's his better side, which makes me giggle as well.
Yes. It's like a classic actor thing. Like,
yeah,
push me on my right side or left side.
This goes to show how much time they spend like probably practicing their lines in the mirror where they're able to figure out what their best sides are. Because I have no clue. I don't stand in front of a mirror that long. But I'm sure you've heard, Sally, that Disney has talked about a reboot. There was a script even with Margot Robbie, who I love, but it's on pause right now. I'm curious if we'll hear more.
Yes. And then producer Jerry Bruckheimer says that they're still working on a new movie and no word on whether or not Jack will return. I mean, it won't be a Pirates movie without Jack.
It can't. It can't. Really. I know there was a whole lot of controversy, but I think he has to be brought back if they're going to do it. I just can't even fathom the series without him.
Yeah, even if it's like a little brief cameo of like 5 or 10 minutes, it's like something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, regardless of whether or not they do move forward with this series, I can't imagine they won't. It's such a huge blockbuster for them. But whether they do or do not, it has left a huge mark on the theme parks, on Hollywood, and of course on fans.
Yes, and these movies are fun, bold, and filled with magic. They make you feel like anything could happen on the sea.
And they show that heroes don't have to be perfect. Sometimes they just need a compass that doesn't point north and a whole lot of courage. With that, Sally, thank you as always for all of the work that you bring into movie nights and trivia and providing us all with so much fun. You really do create movie night magic for our training community.
Thank you so much for having me today, Christine.
Of course, it's always a pleasure. And now, my friends, it's time for our final segment of the show. There's going to be grog, gear, and grub, a little pirate fashion with a very surprise guest. She's going to show you how to channel your inner pirate with style and snacks.
And you don't want to miss it.
Stay with us. And remember, not all treasure is silver and gold, mate. All right, swashbucklers, this is the part of the show where we're going to let our hair down. We're going to slip into something that can help us take down a pirate or two. And we're, of course, going to pour ourselves a drink. But we're not doing it alone, because this next guest, you need to buckle up, my friends. She's at the helm of the Disney Day Drinkers running team. She's a legendary ultra running coach, a woman who has run over 300 and counting marathons, often in costumes so detailed that you think she had a fairy godmother on speed dial, or at least Bart Yasso stopping to talk about the fact that he still can't get over how amazing her costumes are. She's also a friend that's so fun that if you run into her on a deserted island, you're going to hope that you have at least 2 coconuts and a blender nearby so you can sit for a spell and chat. Please welcome the one, the only, the sparkly dusted storm of joy and power herself, Charlotte Corher.
Thanks, Christine. That was a pretty darn good introduction. You know, if only you could see that I have my pirate garb on right now, it would even make it better.
Yeah. Now, what I am curious, let's get it for sure right, because I know you've been on many podcasts. How do we say your last name?
It depends on which side of the county you're from, where I am now. My parents and my brothers and sisters all say it differently. It's Courier.
Courier. Okay. We're going to work on that after we have maybe a drink or two. Maybe I just have to loosen up a little bit, I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Okay, Charlotte, as I've already talked about, you are the supreme master of costuming. Seriously, friends, you're going to want to follow her on Instagram as well. So, Charlotte, I'm going to ask you to drop that in so people can see your incredible costumes. And because you are the Blackbeard of Bedazzle's racewear, I'm going to ask you to maybe give us a little bit of history of what pirates actually wore and how we can channel that into a running costume.
Yeah, sure. So I live on the coast of North Carolina. So a lot of pirate history and information around here. So slightly obsessed with pirates. But, you know, pirates, they were practical and scrappy. So, you know, they're not thinking about running a marathon. They're thinking about, you know, being out on the high seas. So, you know, they're going to wear loose linen skirts, you know, white, cool colors, breathable and easy to move in. Unfortunately, you know, they didn't have the gear that we have these days. So they had like canvas or wool trousers. I can't imagine trying to run in that. They did have like sashes or belts to carry weapons or tools, which, hey, makes it good to carry your grog mug or maybe a little mini bottle in there, tuck them in there as well. And vest and waistcoats. So lots of extra flair and things you can bedazzle. You know, for their heads, you know, they have those famous tri-corner hats, you know, things to keep the sun off of them, and bandanas. So a lot of the times you can work these into a costume very easily. But just lots of layers, a lot of things added. You see the pictures where, you know, they've got all these accessories onto their costume.
Okay. Now you're saying that you can't imagine running in wool trousers, though. I think you've run in a full salmon row. I mean, you had a full costume where you probably had more uncomfortable fabrics that you've had to deal with. But how do we funnel all of this realistically for maybe us that are just amateurs? We're just dipping our toe into having some more fun with our costuming when we run. How do we make that more race friendly?
Yeah, you definitely want to get practical. I think I've worn, 5 different pirate costumes across the years, so it's just, you got to make it fun. If it jingles, sparkles, or flutters in the breeze, it's fair game. So let's just talk about this. So again, with the tops, think light colors, puffiness, puffy sleeves. Remember the old Jerry Seinfeld episode about the pirate shirt?
Yeah.
So light and flowy. For the hydration vest, that you can add stuff on. So that's, where you can attach your grog cup. And also it's a great place to hide your little snacks and treasures. So, you can do things to bedazzle your hydration vest. The bandana or buff, that's a crown for you. You can add rhinestones, feathers, fringe, anything you want to your bandana or your buff. Gold coins, those are fabulous to add to a running skirt. Imagine you're running along and then people hear the jingle, jingle, jingle like a loot bag every time you take a step. And then also temporary tattoos. These are great and fun things to do. You can find a lot of this on Amazon. And of course, every pirate has a parrot on their shoulder. So yeah, get that parrot and pop it up on your shoulder. And then just fun accessories like a compass or a sword. And then, of course, we talked about the headwear, the tri-corner hats. Those are great for keeping the sun off of you. And you can wear it the whole time. Or you can toss it off to a kid if you want to. Me, personally, I'm head to toe, start to finish. My costume stays intact the whole time. But you can make a hat very runner-friendly.
Okay. I am amazed by the fact that you are committed when you get into your costume and you're going to make it happen no matter the distance, no matter how difficult it is. So since you are our pirate pro, do you have some tips specifically of some of your costumes that you felt like needed some tweaking along the way since you've had so many different iterations?
Yeah, the big thing is just to practice, and whatever you're going to wear, make sure it's not going to rub or chafe, trip you up. A lot of times if you have a long flowy skirt, you might get tripped up on that. That flowy blouse that we talked about, it could chafe you. So just practice in everything you have. And again, try to think light colors if it's going to be a hot race and you're going to be out in the sun.
Okay, I love this. It makes a lot of sense. I think it actually kind of translates really well into the racing runner friendly with the pirate gear. So I'm excited and I can't wait to see what people come up with. I also want to see if maybe we can find some of your photos and share them at least with the Disney Day Drinker group. Because friends, if you haven't joined us over on Facebook over there is the fantastic community of Disney runners that are all about having the most amount of fun possible, especially with Charlotte at the helm. But Charlotte, we talked about gear, which I know you're a pro about. I think it's important, though. We can't really have a Pirates of the Caribbean themed podcast without talking about some of the delicious treats. So do you have some favorite kind of Caribbean inspired or pirate fare that you tend to gravitate toward?
That's the whole reason I run. It's just so I can eat those fun treats. Yeah, there's some great things across Disney World and the parks that you can chow down on. Right, Christine?
Yeah. I think if you guys are going to Disney World, per se, at Magic Kingdom, I'm a big fan of heading to Tortuga Tavern. Sometimes you can get the seasonal jerk chicken. Of course, they have some barbecue pork and some rice bowls. I love me some Dole Whip. I feel like that's as tropical as it possibly gets. And it kind of makes me feel a little piratey as well. So, of course, heading to Sunshine Tree Terrace, and they occasionally have a coconut Dole Whip, which I think makes it super special. But if not, I'm totally down with the pineapple Dole Whip. And of course, you can get a little bit of a rum float on it outside of Magic Kingdom, even though I'm excited about the Pirates Tavern that's coming our way here soon. Epcot, I'm personally thinking that a drumstick kind of fits with the pirate gear. And I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand. It feels very piratey. Like I just pillaged and plundered and now I have a drumstick to celebrate with.
Oh, it's not a drumstick. It's a turkey leg.
Yes. I'm going to call it a drumstick.
Turkey leg.
Okay. I love this. Charlotte's like, no, my friend, you got this wrong. It is a turkey leg. Okay. Same difference, right? Just a little bit bigger of a poultry. I committed a foul.
Oh, good one.
So you're going to go to Regal Eagle Barbecue, which actually is one of my favorite stops. And also they have some great drinks there as well. We're going to talk about some of the places we can get drinks at. Now, over in Epcot, there's always a great festival booths. So I definitely would say there's a lot of places to participate in those festival booths. If we're heading to Disneyland, of course, Bengal Barbecue, Tropical Hideaway, those will have some really great grub for you to get. They get a little fancier with their Dole Whips over in Disneyland. So they may add a little mango chili, again, that coconut. And of course, in Disneyland Paris, Captain Jack's. I mean, how are you not going to go to Captain Jack's there? So jerk season mahi mahi, coconut rice, which is one of my favorites, and rum-based desserts. And Tokyo Disney Sea, maybe not exactly on theme, but you can bring that kind of flair yourself, friends, at Cafe Portofino. Also has those Caribbean style dishes. And in Shanghai Disneyland, all the way, black pearl milk tea. I mean, come on, it's perfect. Of course, there's fried seafood and island style plates as well. So I think that kind of covers the grub for the Disneyverse. But friends, if you have some suggestions that I may have missed, or you want to go ahead and let me know that you're definitely all about that turkey leg versus me calling it a drumstick, feel free to pop in and let us know.
Oh, Christine, I'm really hungry right now.
I know. I am super hungry.
We should have planned this as a lunch meeting so we could eat while we were doing this, talking about all this food.
Next time we'll have to do that. Or we should just record it live at Disney World. I mean, that's the better way of doing it anyway.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay. Let's be honest. We can't do anything pirate themed without a little bit of hydration, both as a runner and as a pirate. So we need our grog. Where do we go, Charlotte, to get a little bit of that pirate rum flair?
If there's anything I love more than running in costume, it is drinking rum. That is my go-to. So gonna love talking about this. Of course, one of the favorites at Disney World is at the Polynesian Village, the Trader Sam's Grog Gatto. You got to know the secret to get in. There's timing involved, but they just have those great drinks that are served with fire, or the fun tiki glasses and things that they have, like the Nautilus from the old 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Still trying to get my hands on one of those. Also at Disney Springs, you got Jock Lindsay's Hanger Bar, the Cool-Headed Monkey as great drink, as well as the Rum Runner's Revenge. And then at Oga's Cantina, Star Wars, not pirates, but they were kind of pirates in the sky, but they have some great drinks over there as well.
I agree. For the record, I think that, they do have a little bit of a tropical flair, a little bit of that falernum that immediately makes me feel a little bit more piratey whenever I get a cocktail or a drink. I do want us to talk a little bit about how you can keep that going. You can, of course, get some frozen margaritas at Epcot Mexico Pavilion, or some Caribbean-inspired cocktails at the Boathouse in Disney Springs. But Charlotte, what I really want to know is, how do we take this fun off of Disney property for folks that maybe are joining us from home, and how they get some fun themed drinks, and tell us all about the rum?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many great rum drinks. You just can't go wrong. The classic is the Rum Runner. We got the rum, the banana liqueur, blackberry liqueur, orange juice, and a little splash of grenadine to give it that blood look. Crush the ice and put a cherry sword on top. Always a favorite. But here's my favorite, the painkiller. Any sailor knows about a painkiller in the different ports. So you've got dark rum, pineapple juice, orange juice, cream of coconut. So you shake this over ice and do a sprinkle of nutmeg. Known fact, nutmeg is actually classified as a hallucinogen. So if you actually sprinkle that nutmeg, they tell them what's going to happen. You might be seeing pirates around.
Shut the front door. First of all, that's one of my favorite tiki-based kind of cocktails as well. And I had no idea that that's a little bit of the kick of the nutmeg. So it feels a little absinthe kind of a thing where we add that in.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting. Very cool. What else can we get, or should we order at the bar after we have a hallucinatory conversation with a pirate?
So a Blackbeard's Blood has spiced rum, cherry juice, cola, or I'm from the South, a Coke, and a squeeze of lime. And you serve it in a dark glass with a skull stirrer, unless you happen to have Blackbeard's skull. So the story is that once they cut his head off and his body still continued to circle around the Queen Anne's Revenge, once they gathered his head, they used his skull as a chalice, and it made the rounds of the local bars. So if you can drink it out of Blackbeard's skull, it's going to make it extra special.
Now, is this before or after that nutmeg? Because
maybe it was because of the nutmeg.
I'm wondering so. Okay. That sounds interesting. I don't know that I'm partaking in that one per se, but is there another one that maybe is a little bit more friendly for Christine here?
Yeah. So another great one is the Tiki Torch shot, which has pineapple juice, coconut rum, love some coconut rum, and a dash of cinnamon, which is really great for you. And you can also do it in a shot glass with a toasted sugar.
Oh, I love this. This is delicious. I feel like these are great both on and off the run. It may make your run a little bit more interesting, that's for sure. And I feel like, Charlotte, when are you opening up your official bar? Because we all want to visit it.
Oh, any day now. I would love that.
Seriously, I feel like it's definitely your calling. Okay, my friends, I want to say thank you so much, Charlotte, for joining us. So if you guys are running your 5K in a pirate skirt or you're sipping grog from a coconut cup or maybe Blackbeard skull, the goal is the same. We want you to have fun, make memories, add a little sparkle to the seas. And if you're looking for more of these fun drink recommendations, or you're looking for your home of really fun Disney day drinkers, you need to definitely head over, join Charlotte and myself at the Club D3 running team. I'm going to have that link in episode notes. So friends, whether you're at home or at the Disney resorts, I want you to join in on the fun. Thank you, Charlotte, for coming on in and joining us here.
Oh, this was fabulous. I love talking running and I love talking rum and pirates. So this was like made my day to be able to do both at the same time. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. This was really fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing people out there at a Disney race or any other race. Find a race that's got a pirate theme and go for it. I hope you see you dressed up there. Make sure you eat well, drink some of those fabulous drinks after you run, if it's a Dole Whip or a rum slush.
Yeah, and then tag us in those photos. Where would they tag us at, Charlotte? I know they're going to find us on Instagram. They can find us over on Strava. You can get us over at the Facebook link group page. There's so many different places. We're going to drop that link in there for folks so that they can give us a tag or give us a follow or join in on the fun. But until next time, mateys, may your pace be steady and your grog be strong. It's so hard to follow that up, but I want to thank you all for joining in. And this, my friends, officially wraps up the first leg, or I should say turkey leg, of our journey through the Dead Men Run No Miles. Of course, it's the first of the 3 virtual summer run series. So whether you are lacing up for your morning miles or cruising through your day with a bit of pirate swagger, we're so glad that you brought us along. A tremendous thank you to our co-captains of this episode, Lynn, for charting the rich and storied waters of Pirates of the Caribbean across the parks, Sally for navigating the legendary film franchise with wit and wisdom, and Charlotte for closing us out with, of course, that pirate panache for a costuming, fabulous fashion, and some seriously spirited hydration inspiration. Each of you brought your own sparkle to the ship, and this crew wouldn't be the same without you. Now, to the rest of you brave adventurers, don't forget your treasure map awaits. That Dead Men Run No Miles bingo treasure card isn't just for fun, though we promise it will be. It's your guide to making every run this weekend an adventure. Spot as many squares as you can while out on the move, then share your progress over in the Stride Collective Facebook group by Sunday, June the 8th to be entered into our prize drawing. One lucky pirate will be chosen at random and announced on Wednesday, June the 11th. Trust me, you'll want to keep your spyglass trained on the group for that announcement. And while you're there, be sure to check out both of our harbors, the Stride Collective, where running friends from near and far share their stories, their miles, and a good bit of motivation, and the Disney Day Drinkers running team, home of course, D3, where you'll find race weekend shenanigans, training tips, costume planning, and a whole lot of themed fun. Mark your calendars now. Our next Extraordinary Strides companion episode will set sail on Friday, July 11th, this time themed to Jungle Cruise, a journey filled with dry jokes, wild wet life, of course, the backside of water, and some unexpected turns. For those of you who are local to Central Florida, we're hosting a Jungle Cruise themed fun run on Saturday, July 12th. You'll find all the details on both of those Facebook group pages, so make sure that you have joined the crew. Until then, keep moving, keep adventuring, and above all, keep showing up. Because while Dead Men may not run any miles, you, my friend, are just getting started. Wishing you fair winds, smooth roads, and, as Charlotte already mentioned, a full cup of grog until we meet again.